Hello, guys and girls, and welcome to episode 132 of the F.Reality Podcast. This is a weekly VR, AR, and MR talk show, live streamed every Saturday on YouTube and on Twitch. And don't forget, you can also catch the show live in VR using big screen TV. The show goes live at 7 p.m. in Europe, 6 p.m. in the UK, and 12 midday in central US. You can also check out the audio version, which is available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and on Spotify. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback during the show, please put them in the chat. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can. Now, of course, it's time for me to introduce you to the team. First up, this guy loves to put on a VR headset, essentially making himself blind to the real world, and then putting the pedal to the metal in a real-life go-kart, putting his mind, body, and soul on the line for science. It's, of course, Nathy. How you doing, dude? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm actually the host of the show this time.
Yeah.
In a way, behind the scenes. You're the host on the foreground. I'm the one behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. You're taking Zim's spot this week, so no pressure.
I'm pressing all of the buttons at the moment. It's unbelievable. And I'm also talking to you right now. This is multitasking is real, man.
Yeah, it's like giving like a brand new flight cadet, all the controls to the Enterprise.
But it's weird though. Like I once hosted a show. I was like, I could tell you, I was like extremely nervous. It's been a while though. I think it was like 2 years ago. But
yeah,
just pressing the buttons is even worse.
It is?
Yeah, for some reason it is. I don't know.
Wow. So, prayers in the chat for Nathy. Hopefully he can hold the show together this week. But thank you for taking over because, as you said, Zim sadly won't be joining us this week. But hopefully we'll be back on the show with us next week. So, yeah, good luck. Good luck, dude. So, next up, this guy will soon be taking his Belgian waffles to the land of maple syrup in Canada. He'll be Belgium's biggest export since the Belgian chocolate. Is, of course, Rowdy VR. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing all right. And you have to say, Belgian pancakes or Belgian waffles together with maple syrup. It's a good
Amazing
combination,
combo.
right? It was written in the stars. It was meant to be.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm all right if I'm allowed to leave. That is, of course, because currently Belgium is closing down. Slowly but surely. But
that's interesting, actually, because when are you due to leave?
The 25th.
Oh wow! So literally not that long.
No.
So this whole pandemic could put the brakes on this move.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
It's really like the amount of arranging I need to do now that has been added to it the past couple of weeks. It's been enormous. Yeah.
And
sure.
Like, have you got a contingency plan just in case you've got somewhere to Oh, okay. So you'll be sleeping on the streets of Belgium.
No. I mean, I have a place to stay in Belgium
okay.
For sure because my parents live here as well, and that was part of the plan anyway.
Okay.
But the problem is rather like the money that we spend on hotels and Airbnbs and all that kind of stuff and flight tickets. That's a bit more concerning. Well, I mean,
Sure.
I'm sure that will be fine, but it's just annoying.
Yeah, of course. It's just this pandemic's been a massive inconvenience for everyone, I have to say. But anyway, last but by no means least, myself, the host of the show, Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis. We've got an interesting show for you today. Some of the highlights include E3 and more gaming events around the world have been cancelled due to the ongoing global pandemic. Facebook Horizons teases an upcoming beta along with more Oculus announcements coming soon. Rowdy's going to give you the lowdown on the latest releases to look forward to next week. Hopefully there's something we can look forward to. So I look forward to that. And then finally, Nathan will be telling us more about his visit to the creators of Space Pirate Arena, iLlusions, where he tried a unique concept using an Oculus Quest and a real-life go-kart. What could possibly go wrong?
Wow. At least something interesting is going to happen in this show.
Yeah, exactly. It does feel like as the world slows down and locks themselves inside, so does the news and the VR industry with it. So hopefully we'll still put a nice show for you together today. But keep us updated in the chat what you think, and maybe we can talk about some of the comments that you want to talk about as well. Yeah. But of course, first up, let's find out what everyone's been playing this week and their highlight of the week this week. And let's kick it over to Rowdy first to find out what you've been up to, mate.
Yeah, I've my highlight of the week is finding toilet paper.
Congratulations! Yeah.
No, actually, I haven't played any VR this week, mainly because I'm starting to sell parts. My computer is a little bit in shambles, or one of them is. So it's not that easy for me to do recordings anymore. I do still have a laptop, but I'm slowly but surely like starting to get rid of stuff, which makes it, of course, a bit harder for me to do recordings on my regular setup. I have played, and a little bit per your suggestion, because I know that you've been playing a platformer game this week. I've also been playing a platformer game, and actually the one that I've been playing is the first edition of the one that you've been playing. So I've actually been playing Ori and the Blind Forest this week, just to like calm down a little bit in the evening, although I didn't really know what to expect. I saw some videos, but I have enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because like that game is like one of my all-time favorite games. So
I entirely blame it on you because of what you were saying this week to in our chats.
Yeah,
that I'm playing this game right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
But it is a beautiful game, right?
Yeah, it's gorgeous, and I saw it's actually also available on the Switch. So I was like, maybe I should get it on there. It might ease the pain a little bit when I'm going on the plane.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. That's what I'd recommend. Like if you haven't played Ori and the Blind Forest, which I totally would recommend, because obviously the sequel, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, released this week. It's not a VR game, by the way. It's just a 2D platformer, but absolutely stunning. I would recommend that you download the definitive edition. It's a slightly extended version of the game, the original game. But I think that is the one that is available on Switch right now. But yeah, like you said that you were selling off a lot of your kit. Obviously, being the internet celebrity that you are you signing them and making sure you
of course. Everyone wants a graphics card that's like my initials like ingrained in it, like just with a knife scratching it in there. Yeah, of course. It's maybe that's why it's still for sale.
It's got some guys scratched Rowdy VR into the top plate of it.
So are you
like over the circuit board, like did it afterwards?
So since you said you were going to move anyway, is there like some kind of garage sales for your fans that they can go to?
No, I don't even have a garage.
It's like, oh, you can buy Rowdy's old pillow and some other creepy stuff.
I did recently. I dug out my mic pillow, and it's going to my parents now. I'm not entirely sure if I'm taking it to Canada yet.
Well, put that on eBay. That'll fetch you.
No, I was actually thinking maybe just taking it on the plane. Like sleeping with it.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah,
that's the only way to guarantee you reduce your anxiety is having your own personal mic pillow on the plane with you. Yeah. But no, good to hear that you're doing all right, and despite everything else going on, I'm sure things will be okay.
Yeah. I do expect it to be postponed though. Like the way that things are going at the moment, I do think that it's going to be postponed, or I might just barely make it. So fingers crossed. I've got my fingers and toes crossed for you, mate. Absolutely, because I know you've been looking forward to this for a long time. Yeah.
But looking forward to you being settled out there, because I've never been to Canada, so having someone there is a perfect excuse.
Yeah. The problem only is like the time that it will take for me to settle there will be a lot longer still, because of all of this stuff that is going on. It's very hard for me to find apartments as well, because viewings and doing all these listings and getting all these appointments. That's all like way more complicated right now to arrange all of that. So we're gonna have to like stay in like some random places for like a little while, I think, before we can finally like say, okay, we found something that we like.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that, the fact that you're gonna go somewhere and they're gonna be on lockdown as well.
Yeah,
crazy times.
Indeed.
What about you then, Nathan? What you been up to this week?
Well, also just playing some pancake stuff, to be honest.
Preparing yourself.
Yeah, because Half-Life is about to come out, and I feel like there's no life after, because it's gonna be crazy. Not just like playing the game, but also having to make those videos, having to produce all kinds of stuff for the channel. So it's gonna be mental. So I'm just chilling a little bit, playing some pancake stuff. Not that much VR, because. I don't know. There is not much that really entices me to get into the metaverse at the moment. So
tell me about it.
Yeah, and it will also be hard to keep my eyes open on other stuff when Half-Life comes out, because I do feel like this game is so big that it will overshadow anything else that will be releasing in the same week. So I said it before, if you're a developer and you're planning to publish your game at the same moment, you might want to consider a different date, because this is going to be that 1 week where everyone said like, oh wait, so that game also came out? Never knew it came out, because the hype is going to be so big. But some developers do, because they do think that, because the VR, hype starts, then that there might be more people looking for other titles to play too. So,
although I do think it would be a good idea to bring out a game that is called like Half-Life Eric at this moment, because I think a lot
Half-Life
of people
Eric
would just like a random like they did that a lot with like when the Beatles were popular, there were a lot of bands that started their name with the letters B and E as well, like the Bee Gees, all of these bands came in there as well, because they wanted to be cataloged in the CD shops next to the rack where the Beatles were, which because people would go there, but then ultimately would see the other game as well. So
that happened to what is it? Apex Construct.
That's Apex Legends. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I do totally feel you guys, and I feel the same way about next week, particularly, like kind of slowing down a bit, taking a bit of a break before the craziness hits with Half-Life Alyx, because I know for us as content creators, there's a lot of pressure there to compete with everyone else. And, we're going to be competing with channels that are a lot bigger than us, of course, that are now dipping their toes into VR because of all of a sudden the interest behind it.
Yes.
So yeah, I do totally feel you with that one. And again, it has kind of been a bit slower in interesting content to cover as well. So I've kind of been dipping back into like emulations with like VR this week, which was a lot of fun. They did an incredible update with some zappers that you can now spin and play light gun games in VR as well. That wasn't my highlight of the week this week, though. But before I get into what I want to say is my highlight, let's read out some of the chat as well first. We've got a long-time supporter, Watto UK. He played some Project Cars 2, also jumped back into No Man's Sky and played some X-Plane 11 until his controller battery ran out and he crashed and died in a fireball.
Wow,
so
nice.
Hope you're okay there, dude. Les Marwick, he's been playing No Man's Sky. He said it's taken over his life at the moment. And then we've got Toothless, who finally tried Doctor Who Edge of Time this week. It was fun and scary, but I was disappointed on how short it was, he says. And then real MVP in the chat is Eric Hartley, who was playing the original Half-Life with a set of Razor Hydras.
Half-Life Eric.
Yeah.
There we go.
So there we go. Good times. But yeah, my highlight of the week this week is a game called Hyperdash. And I played this one on Oculus Quest, and this is one that has been recommended by the audience of this show time and time again over the last few weeks, and has been their highlighted game of the week. So I thought, it's finally time. I need to go and check this game out for myself. I played it on Oculus Quest, teaming up with Gamertag VR, but you can also play this game on Oculus Rift, as it's cross-play between both headsets. If you don't know anything about Hyperdash, it's an online competitive multiplayer first-person shooter. It's still in development right now, but you can join the alpha of the game and play it for free at the moment while they're sort of, fleshing out and developing the game. Now, the really cool thing about this game that sets it apart and is quite unique is that you use 3 different locomotion methods all at the same time. So you have a dash teleport, which has a cooldown. You have smooth locomotion, which you use for strafing and smooth sort of movements when you're firing. And you also have this awesome locomotion method of grinding along rails, which kind of reminded me of like Jet Set Radio.
Yeah, I was just about to say Jet Set Radio feature really like made that popular, right?
Oh, man, it's so...
Although maybe it's like Tony Hawk or something.
Yeah, exactly.
First, right?
Yeah, Tony Hawk. Yeah, totally.
Or the snow one from... how is he called again? The snowboard games.
Yeah, I know which one you mean.
What, like
Shaun White?
Tricky. Oh, okay, Shaun White. Yeah, I think GT said it reminded him of Sunset Overdrive. That was another one.
That one. Yeah.
Rail mechanics. But yeah, this is a really fun game. The alpha, it has 2 game modes right now, which are Payload and Domination, and 3 maps. My favorite mode was Payload. So, one team is pushing the payload. You need a player on the payload to move it. The other team is suppressing them so it doesn't hit their base. Very similar to Overwatch. If you've ever played Overwatch, you'll be familiar with the payload sort of game mode. It has dedicated servers, cross-play, voice chat, and it has these awesome pre and post match lobbies with other players. So when the match is over, you've got like little confetti guns that you can all use to celebrate and high five each other and congratulate each other on a good game. So for an alpha, it's very, very polished and a lot of fun. So I definitely recommend you go check it out. You just need to join the Hyperdash Discord to download the latest version for Quest or Rift. And we've added a link to the Discord in the description of this video if you want to go check it out. So that is Hyperdash, my highlight of the week this week. Yeah.
Nice.
Have you guys been seeing this one, or have had the opportunity to check it out?
I haven't played it yet, but it reminds me a little bit of that. There's also one of those high-speed shooters that was in the beginning where you had to like paint the area, because that orange
Splatoon
wall, Splatoon, but then the VR version that I mean.
VR version.
Made like in the beginning of like when shooters were becoming popular, they made like a certain kind of game as well. That I found that so much fun to do that. Also, I think a mode like that would work really great in this kind of game, just because of the architecture and like the textures that they have.
Yeah.
With the blue and the orange would work well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people who saw it initially maybe passed on it because of the teleportation. They were thinking, it's just a teleportation game, it's not going to be fun. But the teleportation makes it way more frantic and fast.
But that's exactly why it's called Battle Dome. Eric Hartley just posted it.
Right,
yeah. That was
the
one that I meant. But the teleportation mechanic in that particular game in Battle Dome, I liked so much because you could only teleport on regions that were yours.
So that's smart.
You first had to make it orange or make it blue before you could actually teleport to that region.
Yeah,
and I think that would work well in this as well.
And it makes an interesting dynamic, because when you face off with another player, it's kind of like a game of chess. Like, you don't quite know where they're going to teleport to, and they could get the edge on you by like teleporting behind you, for example, and getting the drop on you. So it does make this like really fast-paced, frantic game, which is a lot of fun. And I wouldn't pass up on it if you're thinking, it's just teleport only, because it's got much more to it than that.
But this is exactly what the platform needs.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Multiplayer stuff like this that is like extremely action-packed, competitive, something you want to return to, get better at, beat other people, build up a friend group there. This is something that, should not only be on SideQuest, but on many other platforms.
And I think that's the only reason why not many people know about this right now, is because it's not on SideQuest, it's not on the official store.
Yeah.
You have to download it through their Discord because it's still in development.
Yeah.
But, the level of polish that they provided on this game so far, it's got a lot of potential. And I would love to see this being one of those games that becomes like an esport. I think it's got the potential, because I think watching this could be really fun as well from a spectator's point of view. But yeah, totally recommend it. And, it's free to check out right now. We don't have any details on an official release or what other platforms it's coming to. But yeah, jump on it and check it out and give the developers some feedback of what you'd like to see in the full game.
Okay.
For sure.
Cool.
So that is Hyperdash. Let's jump into some news then. And the first bit of news I want to talk about this week is about the Valve Index stock. Because we talked about this on the show last week, and we told you that on Monday the 9th of March at 5 p.m. UTC, new stock would be online on the Steam store, including Valve Index headsets, bundles, and controllers. And when I logged in, because I was very, very tempted to pick up a second set of controllers. So when I logged in, I was there bang on 5 p.m. And when I went to buy them, all it said was that you could order them. It didn't say you could buy them, just order. And ordering means that it was in your basket. You kind of confirm that you were going to buy it. Yeah. They would take the payment details later and then give you a shipping date later. But the estimates were showing 8 weeks delivery.
Damn.
And I was like, holy crap, this is kind of pointless, because the only reason why I wanted a second set was potentially for Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah.
And 8 weeks is just going to overshoot it. So I kind of like ended up abandoning that idea. But I just wondered, did anyone in the chat manage to get one that was shipped straight away?
That's a good one.
Or did the estimated shipping dates change? Or what about you guys? Because I know that you got a second set of controllers recently, Nathie.
Yeah. Well, you had to be quick. Just,
Oh, you did manage to get one then?
Yeah, I have it laying around here. It's
wow,
like
okay.
I have the controllers, so...
Right, and you were just there at 5 p.m. refreshing?
No. I already did it up front. I already ordered once before, so...
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
so
no, I'm not I'm just like the Dutch people buying toilet paper. I already bought it up front.
You were panic buying.
Exactly. I
Right.
bought
Panic buying with Valve Index controllers.
That's true. Yeah.
So basically, you had pre-ordered these when they went out of stock originally, and they were fulfilling this order.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess when the stock came in, it means they were fulfilling the back orders first, and then opening them up for the online orders.
Sense.
Yeah, this was like the
okay,
apocalypse moment where the last supermarket was getting raided.
Yeah.
So Eric Hartley in chat says that he has seen reports of folks with 8 weeks shipping getting confirmed shipping on Friday.
Yeah,
So some of those orders are in the air.
This is why I wanted to ask the chat, because I'd heard rumors of this as well, and it was kind of strange, and it's unusual for Valve to do that, because I think it just puts people off, because people want to buy it, obviously, for Half-Life Alyx.
Maybe that's why they're doing it. Because they don't want people to like rush by now and then get disappointed or angry, because by the time that they get them, Half-Life Alyx would have been released. So they just release them now, and they say, okay, well, if we can't make it, then we set 8 weeks. So.
Yeah, VR Spry Guy in the chat says his index changed from 2 to 4 weeks to 3 to 5 weeks, so his actually got pushed back further. So there's a lot of different experiences that people have had sort of getting these headsets.
I think we have also seen a lot of people just going for a different purchase, where they initially wanted to buy the Valve Index, but they want to play Half-Life, so they decided to just buy something else. And I think it's the same with the Oculus Quest, and it's the same with any other headset that's sold out. Yeah. People are just, you want to play it. So are you then going to wait? Are you going to wait those 5 weeks? I think some people are just like, screw it. I'm just buying something else.
I think the interesting thing is that previously I would have said, go on the secondhand market and just buy one. And when you get it, clean it up. But now with like the health concerns, like putting someone else's face sweat on your face, like it's a bit like, I don't know if I would recommend doing that anymore. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it's fine.
Well, like in terms of health, I don't think that is a problem. In terms of just regular hygiene, that's a different thing.
Yeah. Just disinfect it, you would say?
Well, I mean, if we're gonna be talking about like and anything like that, I mean, those kind of things don't really live long on surfaces anyway. So
just
they say a maximum of 7 days, but only on metallic surfaces. So I don't think that will be a problem.
Just don't rub like the face cover into your eye like I did. That's all I'm gonna say.
Don't do that.
Just in terms of hygiene,
no, it's fine.
I mean, it depends on the age of the headset, of course.
Just give it a good clean with disinfectant.
If the most of the headsets, like the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive, come with removable face swaps. So if you have one of those laying around, then I don't see any problems with
seriously, if you want to play Half-Life next week on a Valve Index, then maybe, like, if I was in that position, I would just cancel my order with Valve, because it's not going to arrive in time, and just get one. Well, I wouldn't cancel it until I have a second-hand one from someone, just in case, and then go with that. Because, again, as I said, if you just look over the border at other countries, let's say you live in Germany, and in Germany you can't buy any Valve Indexes, then you could go to the Dutch marketplace, the second-hand marketplace, and buy one from there and just ship it to you. So I would just look also over the border at other websites and see if you can get one there. And it's cheaper too, like a Valve Index. It's extremely expensive. If you could get a second-hand one, it's not a bad idea, not at all.
But I mean, a good point is made by Onikaze in the chat as well. For a lot of things, I tend to agree, but these headsets aren't something that has a huge repair DIY culture yet. So I do consider the support or warranty much more than usual. And I do think that's a fair point, especially if you consider like the Steam controllers, the Valve controllers. There have been quite a bit of issues with them. And you need to do a little bit of DIY if you want to fix them yourselves.
I did.
And if you don't have warranty then that might be indeed like a reason not.
But the thing is, usually, like here in Europe, warranty travels with the next person who buys it. Maybe in America that's a different story, but here, if I would buy it from Mike and he gives me the receipt, then I could still, tell Valve, like, listen, I have problems, and then I could just send it back. But in some countries it works different. Of course. You do need one, of course. But the headset is not that old yet, so you still have warranty. Almost every headset you would buy has still the warranty with that.
Yeah. So that is the Valve Index stock. I'll quickly just touch on I saw that some Oculus Quest stock was coming back in as well this week.
Yeah.
Very, very sporadically. People were posting on Twitter, they're in stock now. 5 minutes later, that stock was gone. So I don't think it's like a proper bulk of stock available.
No, and it was, I think it was again like specifically targeted towards certain countries where you told like straight away, like, it's sold out in the UK. I checked my country. You could have bought an Oculus Quest the entire day if you wanted to. It was just up there. So, but then in the US, of course, was completely. So that's why I'm saying, if you're smart, sometimes you use a VPN and you just buy it over the border and then ship it to you. So sometimes you gotta, especially now with this whole apocalypse going on, smartest wins, even with VPNs.
How is it actually does anyone know, like, the Rift S stock? Since, I mean, I still see the Rift S. I mean, I'm using the Rift S
in Europe. In Europe, for sure.
I'm going to be playing Half-Life Alyx with, and I think I think the added experience that the Valve Index will give will be there, but not in such a way that it's worth like not playing it without having that particular ad set.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not like £600 more better. You're still going to have the same experience.
Yeah,
it's just going to be, that's slightly bit enhanced by the Index. So, I wouldn't wait for the Index. If you don't have a headset and you can get access to a Rift S, it's a totally great headset as well.
Let's not forget, we talked about Vertigo 2 demo, the Vertigo 2 demo a while ago, where we said like the Oculus Touch integration into that was amazing. And since it's the same person who worked for the Half-Life Alyx interaction in the hands there, I do have like a same level of expectation there. So I do think that the Rift S and the Oculus Touch controls will still be a perfect combination for that particular game.
Yeah, and we know from when Tested had hands-on with it that they recommended, even Quest with Link, they said was a good experience. The only headset that they didn't recommend playing Half-Life Alyx with was the Cosmos, which was sad for HTC,
and also
about later.
And also 3D had in combination with the Hydra controllers.
Hydras, yeah. although you're a real OG if you are playing with Hydra still, that was a fun time for sure. Okay, so let's get on from the stock then of the Valve Index and the Quest and talk about E3 because it's a bit disappointing, but understandable in this current climate. The E3 has been cancelled this year. Of course, this is due to what has been declared as a global pandemic now and joins Mobile World Congress, GDC, EGX, and more tech and gaming events, which have all been cancelled to keep the public safe, which, I understand.
Fair enough.
It sucks, but I understand why.
It's one of those measures that is the right thing to do at this moment, but at the same time it sucks. It sucks really, really hard because there's so much going on, and especially also for virtual reality. That's I mean, not that I think again that E3 will be the big thing for VR, but it's just so much stuff that gets shown there. We speculate a lot about like PlayStation 5 and the new PSVR, and like these are the kind of conferences where stuff like that might get shown. So that does suck.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I've seen a lot of people saying, E3 was going to, it's already dead anyways, and it's only getting worse from there. But that's just the game industry in general, judging the event in that way. But you do need to understand in the VR scene, as being such a small niche, for developers, every event they can, get to is a big bonus point, because that's the thing with our industry is that VR needs to be tried, and some games just don't get sold that well by just having a trailer on YouTube. It's like someone needs to try it and see how fun it is. It's the same with Beat Saber. Beat Saber was this massive advertisement for VR last year at Gamescom and E3. People were just gathering around it, where you wouldn't see that in any way.
The perfect example of that you'll get later on in the episode when I'm talking about the releases. You'll see that it's not that easy to sell a game.
No. So in that sense, it will definitely impact the VR developers, and I hope they will find a way to promote it in a different way. But yes, E3 for us is.
Are they doing anything else to like replace the conference itself? Is there like, I don't know, like a live stream, or is there like something going on, or at a later date, or Did
They
make
haven't
any
announced
announcement
anything
around
yet, but they've still got plenty of time to organize things. And I do hope that happens, that it becomes an online conference, almost like a treehouse from Nintendo or, like a Nintendo Direct or whatever they call them,
Yeah.
where they just give you all the information that they would have released at an event online. But of course, the game E3 was going to take place in LA in June, between the 9th and the 11th of June. You actually had tickets to go, right, Nathan?
Yeah.
You had flights, accommodation booked,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
all obviously being cancelled now.
Yeah.
So you got hit financially for this as well, because I take it you can't get a refund on these things.
No. We have like insurance in that sense.
Oh, you have? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
so
Nice.
it's fine, but not we didn't have an insurance because of a pandemic though.
Yeah,
That's
of
like a
course.
total different level. But yeah, I'm disappointed because and it's not just that. I'm also very scared for other events such as Gamescom and ones that are kind of happening late summer, because it's one of those places where not only developers can show off their games. No, it's also a place where you can celebrate the awesomeness of games, and it's also a place where you can network with people.
Yeah.
Because of E3, people come to LA, so the whole city is full of all kinds of people from the VR scene that you can just hang out with. So it's super fun. It's a great way to network, and again, I just hope that. Most, of course, like a lot of companies are struggling. Almost every company is struggling. Yeah. But in the VR scene, it's such a small industry that I just hope that developers, get more time to kind of push their launch windows, or hardware manufacturers getting some time to figure things out. Because we can say VR is just a virtual thing, but there is still a lot behind the scenes that even VR arcades, where first we were like, oh yeah, go to VR arcade, have fun. There's so many arcades that are not going to make it right now.
Yeah. And I think as well, like if you're a developer out there and you want some, exposure on your game, that maybe you was going to announce during E3, then just get in touch with us. There's opportunities there that potentially we could show games off on our own respective channels. So
I mean,
that is an opportunity.
That's what I did with iLusions, with Space Pirate Arena. They were going to show that off at GDC. And I just told them like, hey, can I just check it out up front? Then it got canceled. And now it's the only thing that is, they're one of the only developers that had some marketing going on, even that GDC was canceled. So it's smart.
And of course you've got the Upload VR, E3 showcase that they've been doing the last couple of years as well, which no doubt we'll get some announcements from. But I think, other big events will likely follow suit unless anything rapidly changes in the world. Events such as Gamescom in August, Oculus Connect in September, even that far out, could be cancelled. And it would be a real shame, as I love these events, but I understand, the public's health is at the forefront in this. But, something that, you touched on, these sort of online events, companies or events showing this stuff online. Oculus are actually doing this themselves and announced this week that they're going to be hosting a load of new announcements and updates next week on the official Oculus blog with what they're calling the Game Developers Showcase. This starts on Monday next week and runs up to Thursday. And they sort of tease that there's going to be updates for Beat Saber, Pistol Whip, and some other bits and pieces. So hopefully this is going to be, their content that they were going to show off at GDC, which of course got cancelled. So hopefully we hear more information about like when we can play the new Medal of Honor, for example, from Respawn Entertainment.
This is interesting.
I'm really looking forward to that one.
This is very interesting because, when we were at Oculus Connect, that we were disappointed about the fact that it became more of a corporate business event and less about, celebrating games. Then we suggested to have something next to Oculus Connect. So maybe, hopefully this will have success in a way where Facebook sees the potential and thinks like, oh, maybe we should actually turn this into an event next year, a physical event next to Connect that is just, purely for the gaming scene. That would be nice because this kind of looks like that in a small way. Of course, they are forced to do this, but maybe they see the potential, for the future.
Yeah, although I think this is just going to be blog posts. I don't think there's going to be like a
it sounds like some. How many times do we really get updates on gaming in general with Oculus, with everyone kind of in that circle? I think they should do more with that, and hopefully we see Mike too.
Mike Verdi,
finally, make his appearance, say like, here are some awesome games and some DLCs, and we're proud of the developers and the people who make content for us.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be amazing. Like if we get some newer games announced next week, that'd be really exciting. So if you're looking forward to that, stay tuned to the official Oculus blog.
Yeah.
No doubt, then it'll get spread like wildfire throughout the sort of usual VR channels and on Twitter as well. So
Yeah.
I'm sure, hopefully, we'll get some interesting news from Oculus next week as well. But I really hope, with this sort of pandemic going on, that people sort of start looking at and investing into, like virtual reality events. And I know that, your brother David, he's spoken at a virtual reality event before about sort of healthcare, right?
Healthcare. It was like called educators in VR.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that would be really interesting. And I hope out of all of this, someone pushes that concept further and actually makes it a reality. Because the way I was kind of thinking about it was that if you have an event like that, and especially with what we've seen with WebXR recently, like WebXR, you could just jump straight into a demo or gameplay of a game from a web page.
Yeah.
Like if somehow they could incorporate that sort of mechanic or functionality of WebXR into an event, you could then essentially go to an event, look at a trailer for a game, and then actually just try it because you're wearing a VR headset anyway.
Yeah.
You could then just jump straight into a demo, albeit a stripped down version of that demo, maybe because of the limitations of WebXR. But I think that could be a really interesting use of the technology in the future.
Well, it's funny to see that now because of all of the stuff that is happening in the world. This is taking some steps because now people realize, wait, so VR conferences are not really a thing yet and aren't maybe even as good yet to do so. And now suddenly it's like, oh wait, so maybe this could work and that could work. Now people start to think about the possibilities. Where before, if I would ask you like, hey Mike, if we do a VR conference, where should we do it? You would maybe say, Altspace or Engage. But now suddenly, having these big events where like more than maybe 50 or 100 people want to come over. Things start to get a little complicated, a little different.
I do have to say, I do find the creativity of like people in the last couple of weeks kind of amazing. Like I know at my own university, they invest a lot in like telemetry and like doing those kind of conferences online through a live stream, which I think is already a nice kind of development. Of course, doing it in VR would be, edge of technology right now. But I do think that people start to see, especially with these kind of things happening, more and more the benefit of like, working from home or like doing things that you could be doing in a separate space or in your own space rather than traveling for that particular event, going somewhere. Yeah. Of course, there's a certain charm that is associated with that because we all still go to the movie cinema, even though we have a virtual reality headset or we all have a TV or a projector or whatever. There's like a certain social aspect that is important from that as well. And I think that virtual reality in that particular field can do a lot of good. Since we all know that social presence is big in virtual reality. And if you could actually, for example, in the example of the university, still go to university, but do it in virtual reality with like the professor in the front, I think that would be a really cool kind of concept that you still have all your students in the same room, but just not physically there, but they're in the virtual world.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eric Hartley made a really good point as well that HTC are hosting a sort of Vive event in VR using Engage, like you said, Nathi, and that's going to be on March the 19th. And he's also posted a link if you want to sort of register for it. So go and check that out if you're interested.
It's funny to see that HTC in this particular moment is doing very well with that because they are used to constantly figuring out to get more people together in VR. Because last year they had so many conferences going on to bring their whole VR community together. It's quite normal, in Asia to do that. And now they're also one of the first to say like, hey, listen, because they're working on a program too, an application that allows you to come together, customize your avatar, etc. So I feel like they're the chosen ones to kind of especially now with everything they have been doing. This could be something positive for them to kind of gain back some reputation.
Yeah, we've said that already a couple of times in this podcast that like we kind of need something that would draw a work environment in virtual reality.
Yeah.
I think that this might be that extra push that might be needed in order to go and do something like that.
The world needs it, absolutely. And if you are sort of, on lockdown somewhere and, you want to meet up with people and sort of still socialize, there's plenty of VR apps you can do that with. Big Screen, VR Chat, Engage, Roomy, Altspace, the list is endless.
You can even go to a party in VR Chat.
Yeah.
They actually do that there.
Yeah, they do.
That.
Yeah, they do.
Or
With DJ and everything.
Yeah, go to a rave in
half,
the wave.
Half
the wave
plus
maybe.
half.
Yeah. Plenty to keep you busy there. So,
Hug some head crabs.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is E3 cancelled, but hopefully it will push for future development of like online events and virtual reality events. I would think that would be really cool. And kind of leads me on nicely to Facebook Horizons, which is the next sort of subject of the news this week. If you've not heard of Horizons, it's kind of like Facebook's VR social platform for both Oculus Rift and Oculus Quest.
Is it Horizons or Horizon?
No, it's Horizon, but I call it Horizons. Yeah, all right. Jesus, cut me some
It's like
slack,
Stormlands.
Yeah, exactly. No S's.
So this is the successor of Facebook Spaces.
Well, this is it, because Facebook have experimented with VR social platforms in the past. Like you said, previous attempts include Facebook Spaces, Oculus Rooms as well, which we all really enjoyed on Oculus Go.
Actually, it is one big social platform.
That's
the
true.
entire thing.
Yeah, that is true.
Yes, there is that. But I don't think these two specific applications really gained any traction. And I think that's why they ended up sort of being left by the wayside. But Facebook Horizon hopefully will take the best of these programs that they've already worked on and make them even better, because Facebook Spaces had a really cool feature where you could actually do like a video call through your phone. Like it was a video call in VR to someone else's phone. Like you could call a family member and it would be your avatar in a virtual space on the video call, which was really amazing, really, when you think about the technology behind it. And when you did it, it freaked people the hell out because they didn't know what the heck was going on. So that was really funny. And you could also, hang out with a friend. Like we experimented with this quite a lot, didn't we, Nathi?
Yeah.
In spaces where you could, dynamically change the environment around you with
in a nice way.
Image, and also even hang out in animated quillustrations, which was really, really cool as well. And then moving on to Oculus Rooms on Go, you had this customizable apartment which you could invite people over, play casual games like Monopoly and Boggle, which were so much fun. I think it was just the idea of relaxing, chatting, and just playing a casual game together just worked really well. And because because it was free and everyone had access to it on the headset, it made it much easier to have that kind of like social gameplay.
And also a cool part of that was that it did not only support the Oculus hardware but also Vive, and I think the same will happen with Facebook Horizon, where you can just access it with other headsets too, because Facebook Spaces had a website where you could just go to and you could just download it there. So it was not just on the Oculus platform. No, you could also just download it and put it on your computer. So I think that Facebook Horizon will be for everyone in that, because I mean they want to have the social platform in VR, so they want to make sure everyone can join.
Yeah, and
I do wonder about that though. Like, what is their exact like goal or point with making this? Like, what is the?
What do you think, Rowdy?
No, like it's because the way that I see it portrayed, it's not really a game, right?
No.
It's more like a social happening, a social experience.
Yep.
But I'm wondering how that is gonna manifest itself. Like what kind of like experience should I be expecting from this? And are we gonna see, since this is Facebook, of course, this is a heavily curated experience, how are they going to prevent from something that I would like to call like the VR chat effect, where you can see like a lot of people joining, doing things they shouldn't be doing, or having groups bothering other groups, because the way they're portrayed in that advertisement or in that trailer is it looks really nice, it looks really interesting, but we all know that in reality, when you have these kind of things, they get flooded with like memes or flooded with things that shouldn't be there, or things that should be there but not in that specific space. There's going to be kids running around bothering older people that want to just have a completely different experience. How is Facebook going to make sure they cater to all those different groups? and
Well,
still make it fun.
And I think the answer to that question is that that's what they're experimenting with now. Because the reason why I bring up Facebook Horizons is because there is a closed alpha that is going to be starting fairly imminently, and a user who has been invited to take part in that alpha posted the invite on Reddit this week. So sort of sharing it with everyone else, and there was like an NDA they had to sort of agree to before being a part of the alpha. But it would just be suggesting that people are going to be testing it out in the wild over the next few months, and then hopefully reiterating it, changing things, and then releasing it later on this year.
Like the trailer they launched for Facebook Spaces shows that every average Joe can get into VR, first of all, and then second of all, you see that they're partnering up with friends, because it's not like in the trailer at least that they are hanging out with strangers. Same with Facebook Spaces, we had to be friends to be able to hang out with each other. So I think what they're gonna build it on is, of course, the friend system, to kind of moderate it in that way, because that's an easy way to do it. You have the friend system. If people hang out with each other, the trolling already becomes quite, and Facebook also has people, on their platforms constantly watching. It's like Altspace and VR Chat. They have people working there that are in the game that
like
keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
But again, as Rowdy said, VR Chat, a lot of weird stuff happens that
Wouldn't it be hilarious then that you would have like before you sign in, you get like a set of rules, like what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. And that you actually have like a physical policing unit that goes around and you can go and complain to.
I didn't want to tell you guys, early, but now I've signed up to the Facebook Horizon Police Department.
Police Department.
Police officer.
In the law there, in the virtual worlds.
No, but there will be.
I mean,
it
could eventually be something like that, right? That you have like this policing unit or something that you can report or complain to or record stuff and then show it there, or maybe not such a format, but in some way or form that might actually be happening in order to control this. Because especially if they say, we want to have 1 billion people or 1 million people in virtual reality, 1 billion. If they want to get to that point, eventually they're gonna have to have some kind of system in place that moderates itself. You can't have moderators for that.
The way they describe Horizon is that it's an ever-expanding world where you can explore, play, and create. And I think, if you kind of envisage what Rec Room is a bit like, you've got user-created content in there, you've got established content that's created by, the developers themselves. You can hang out, you can play games, casual games together, and I think that's kind of the vibe they're going to be going for. So it's going to be really interesting, and sadly none of us got to try it at Oculus Connect. So I'm super intrigued by it. Looking forward to hearing more about it. So hopefully the testing will iron out some of the bugs and features, so it's ready for release. I think if I had to put a guess on it, I would say it's probably going to release around September time, probably around Oculus Connect 7. Whether that will happen or not, who knows? Maybe it will happen in Facebook Horizon. We never know.
Or F8, and they let the Zuck show it off again, like they did last time.
That would be a smart move. Yeah.
Because what did they do again? They had him on stage, and then they had someone at the office of Facebook, and they were just calling each other. So maybe they show off that. They show kind of like the difference of, hey, you can be in VR, but you can also be outside of it. Because I still think they're going to build a bridge between those two worlds.
Yeah, although Eric Hartley did say that F8 has been cancelled, which is true.
But F8 should go virtual.
This is like an online event. Yeah, of course.
It would be a fail from their side if they are not able to pull off something virtually, because of the fact that they are totally invested into that. They should at least try.
Yeah, this is the thing that when we was at Oculus Connect 6 and we all kind of joked about it, was that when we were there during the announcement of Facebook Horizon, that they should have said, and now underneath your seat is a headset, whether it's the Quest or whatever. Everyone, we're going to jump into Horizon together and we're going to explore the lands together. That would have been that amazing Ready Player One moment. Sadly, that didn't happen. But you never know. Might happen in the future. But that is Facebook Horizon being tested behind the scenes. So hopefully we'll get a release this year at least. So there we go. Next bit of news this week is from HTC, as a bit of a strange one. This one, as they're discontinuing 2 of their headset lineup with a view to streamlining the options available. We kind of discussed this on a podcast a few episodes ago, where we said that HTC have got too many different headsets on the market. making it very confusing for customers to choose which headset is the right headset for them. Even if you look at Oculus, they only have 3 headsets, the Go, the Quest, and the Rift S. But even that causes a lot of confusion with consumers, differentiating which headset is the right headset for them. So when you've got 10 on your store, it means that consumers are going to have to do significant research before buying any of your products. And a lot of people just don't have the time to do that. So, but it seems that HTC are trying to alleviate this problem to a certain degree by dropping some of their headsets, but it's surprising which ones they dropped. So they're actually dropping the HTC Vive Pro and discontinuing that headset.
But that's like their most popular headset. Like everyone who says like HTC, they mainly talk about the HTC Vive Pro.
Yep.
Yeah, because
I
it's
totally
the
100% agree with you.
It's the last headset they made that is actually, still based on the original design by Valve.
It's not the headset that gets recommended by people.
No, but it's very popular. It's very popular in the enterprise scene, but has also been quite popular within the, consumer scene, even that it was like very expensive.
The Vive Cosmos?
No, the Vive Pro.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, the Vive Pro, out of all the headsets that Vive currently do, it's probably the only one that I would still recommend.
And it's a nice headset.
It is a nice headset, and a lot of people still use it today. I know Josh Dud, I think, still uses that headset to record his content with.
A lot of streamers do as well.
Yeah, and I think they do it.
That with the combination of using the OpenVR plugin and OBS that just makes it a really great experience for a beginning content creator.
The specs are nice. The comfort is really good too. It's a bulky headset, I know, but and it supports wireless
controllers. Then some people prefer those one controllers more than they do the Oculus Touch controllers.
And it's blue. Most importantly.
Preference.
Yeah, but at least you have the option.
And that's the thing with the Vive Cosmos. Like you don't have those controllers anymore either.
No, at least with the Vive Pro, you could pair it with a pair of index controllers if you wanted to. And of course, with the Cosmos now, with the Elite faceplate that enables, Steam VR tracking, you can do the same thing, but you're talking about, adding more money. And to be honest, the Cosmos build quality isn't very good, to be honest. But it just seems strange that this is the headset that they drop.
Yeah.
And they're actually, they're not dropping it completely. They're replacing it with the HTC Vive Pro Eye. Basically the Vive Pro with eye tracking. And it will be, the same price as the original Vive Pro bundle. But you get the eye tracking, so you get that for free, I guess.
A lot of people don't want that. I mean, everybody wants eye tracking, but not the kind of eye tracking.
Yeah, personally, what I would have liked to have seen is that, they drop the price of the Vive Pro Eye package and then drop the price of the Vive Pro even further to maybe be a little bit more expensive than the Cosmos, because then at least you've got that better option there. But it seems a strange move.
They just have so many headsets. Like they had to kind of kill off something that they had, but. Yeah, like look at what else could they have canceled? They just have that whole Cosmos lineup. They're not gonna cancel that. The Vive Vanilla, they could have canceled that. It's already kind of canceled anyways. So what else do you have then? Like the Vive Focus was pretty much development kit, so no one seems to really care about that one. But the Vive Pro is the only option for them, I feel like.
They're actually discontinuing the Vive Focus as well.
Yeah, I know.
And replacing it with the Vive Focus Plus, which is
that's another headset.
And that's what I think is the most stupid decision. It's of course the Vive Pro is getting used by a lot of arcades. You see it everywhere in arcades. It's a great headset.
You know why? Because in the beginning they were the best headset on the market. When they came out, it was a full package that you got. Mm-hmm. You got the best tracking out of the box. You got the controllers together with the headset, and those early virtual reality arcades, they wanted that complete package, so they invested in HTC Vive. Yeah. I'm telling you, once you're in that ecosystem, then you stay in that ecosystem, unless when the future products start to be less good.
Yeah, but the reason why I'm saying is it's a stupid decision to cancel the Vive Focus in that sense is because it's a standalone. And standalone is becoming the future right now. If they were smart, they would have at least, well, maybe, we don't know. Maybe they're coming up with the next version of that. But that's exactly what is going to be the most interesting thing in the near future. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it has something to do with them not doing very well and having so many headsets out there and also having to kind of focus on their new lineup. They can't focus on both. But yeah, it's a shame to see it go in that
Yep.
sense, because I don't think arcades want to buy a Vive Pro I, and I also don't think a consumer wants to still buy one, because they did drop the price just right before, just to kind of get rid of their last.
The eye tracking they have there, isn't that more like the reverse eye tracking? It's not in order to increase the resolution, but rather for like an advertiser to know where they're watching, rather than.
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
for development right now. I don't think it's fixed like dynamic foveated rendering. I don't think that's enabled yet.
But it's your only way to get a Vive Pro, basically.
Yeah, although they are still in stock right now. They're just phasing them out. So when the stock is depleted, then they'll switch this over to the Vive Pro I bundle.
Yeah.
So if you still want one, now's the time.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I would recommend the Vive Pro over the Cosmos if you're dead set on getting an HTC headset.
Yeah.
So I do think it's a shame in that sense.
Yeah, and it comes with the new base station, so that's really solid. It sounds like survival tactics to me.
Yeah, and like I said before we move on, whilst on the subject of the Cosmos, it does seem that HTC will be shipping out the Cosmos Elite modular front plate soon that allows it to be tracked by SteamVR base station tracking. But like I said before, I like the modular approach to the Cosmos, but I think it's going to take a lot more for HTC to recover from the bad launch of Cosmos, really, to get its reputation back.
Yeah.
So that is some news from HTC. So last bit of news this week is about Panzer Dragoon. It's making a comeback, but this time it's going to be a VR game. Now, I wasn't that familiar with Panzer Dragoon as I wasn't sort of a Sega fanboy back in the day. I was more of a Nintendo lad, and this originally released on the Sega Saturn back in sort of '95. Did any of you guys have a Sega Saturn?
No. I do have a funny story about Panzer Dragoon.
Go on then, I'd love to hear
because,
it.
Because they made an Xbox version as well.
Okay.
I remember that was back in the time when I was just like a poor little kid and I couldn't afford any gaming stations. So what I would buy were those gaming magazines.
Yeah.
You remember those? Where you got the cheat codes and like all this. So every week I would get like one. And there was this one before the Xbox actually came out. They started making those Xbox magazines as well. And I was going to get the Xbox eventually when it got released. And Panzer Dragoon was one of those games that I really, really wanted to have just because it looked so cool in that Xbox magazine. And I never bought it actually afterwards because I could only buy one game for the entire year, and that was Halo. So I know, and I got 2 games for free. I got Jet Set Radio Future and like a car racing game that was with the original demo of the Xbox. But eventually, I never managed to. I did play Panzer Dragoon on a PC emulator afterwards.
Okay.
I did that, but I never actually played on the Xbox, and definitely not on the Sega because that was.
So just like I never heard of this game.
Okay.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
So tell me, why is this such a good title? I'm intrigued.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying it's a good title, but
Well,
it's just something that looked back then visually to me was that like, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so did you ever play on a Sega Saturn, Nathan?
No, because I'm from '94, guys.
Well,
he was 1 year old.
But I do know it, of
old.
course. I do know it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never had a Saturn. I never really had a friend that had one either. So I never played it originally on the Saturn. But it was it was one of those games that was one of the best games on the Sega Saturn system basically back then. It's an arcade on rails shooter where you ride on the back of a dragon and shoot enemies while the dragon flies through these kind of like open environments. And like Rowdy says, for its time, it was very visually impressive, even though you look at it now and you think, God, it looks pretty bad. But at the time, it was pretty mind-blowing. And it gained this huge following. And since then, there's been sequels, and a lot of people still really love the franchise. And I know that they're sort of remastering some of the franchise for Pancake games, but they're also developing this VR game as well. Now, the VR game is going to be titled Panzer Dragoon Voyage Record, and this will allow players to relive sections of the previous games, so Panzer Dragoon 1, 2, and Panzer Dragoon Saga, in glorious virtual reality from a first-person perspective. So the team developing the game are a Japanese dev team called Wildman, who previously created a Panzer Dragoon concept called the Gunner of Dragoon, which we're going to be sort of playing the video of in the background right now. So that's kind of give you an indication of what the game might finally look like. What's kind of interesting to me, though, is that riding on the back of a dragon sounds pretty intense as a VR experience. Because the thing is with flying games, generally in VR, is that you have a cockpit, in a plane. And that's kind of like your point of reference. Your is always level, so it stops you from feeling motion sick and everything else. But with a dragon, there's nothing around you. I'd imagine you're going to be feeling pretty vulnerable riding on the back of this dragon, and I wonder how comfortable it's going to be for new players. So what do you guys think of this sort of concept? You're going to be shooting enemies, of course, with your motion controllers at the same time whilst riding on the back of this dragon.
And as much as I was a fan on paper of Panzer Dragoon back then, I still don't think that the game like that will work well for virtual reality. I think the dragon riding would be pretty cool, but I think the shooting will be too gimmicky in order for it to feel right. Could be wrong, of course. I don't know.
Yeah. Would you like rather just take control of a dragon, just fly around? Would that be more fun?
Yeah, I think that would be kind of neat. Or instruct the dragon to breathe fire on some kind of lonely civilians.
Yeah. What is the dragon called in Game of Thrones? Is it Zakaris or something like that? She says, and then breathes fire down on all her enemies.
Dracarys,
that's it. Yeah, that sounds about right.
I was a big Aragon fan as well. If you guys ever read that.
Aragon, yeah.
Right, nice. That would be a cool concept. But obviously we don't have any details on release platforms yet, and it's some way off, as I think it's going to be planned for release this time next year. So it's just kind of a little bit of a heads up if you're a Panzer Dragoon fan, that you've got this VR game that's going to be in the works and coming out sometime next year, I think.
I just want Nintendo Labo support for this one. I don't know. It would be good for the one peripheral, the bird one. I think that.
I thought you wanted to fully construct a dragon in your living room made out of cardboard. You can just ride on the back of it.
As long as it's a cheap box I can buy from Nintendo, sure.
Like a mechanical buckaroo in your living room that's a paper dragon.
No, but I do think a game in where you ride a dragon could be interesting. I don't know if this is gonna be it. I don't know if I like the part of having to shoot things too. But yeah, something maybe multiplayer, something maybe, as you said, like Game of Thrones, where the dragon is a part of your adventure. Imagine a single player title with a dragon pet that you sometimes have to work together with. Would be interesting, but
yeah,
I don't know.
You kind of gave me an image in my mind of Falcon Age. So imagine Falcon Age where you're looking after the bird.
Yeah.
Instead of a bird, it's a dragon, and then you look after it and nurture it to a point where it's so big that you can ride on the back of it. It'd be freaking epic.
A little bit like that PlayStation game where you I forgot the name. It's like this huge dog winged beast. The name doesn't pop up right now, but it's a classic.
The Last Guardian.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Where sometimes you play as just you, and then sometimes you work together with, and I think that could be nice. But then we're talking about high budgets, and VR is. I'll take Half-Life for now, okay? Yeah. I'm fine. I'm good. But still, we can, dream about the future where money just, rains down on every VR developer, where they just can't catch it anymore. They have no idea where it goes. That's where VR goes mainstream, guys. Yeah. That sounds amazing, right?
Well, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen for a long time now, even further into the future because of what's going on. But it is kind of interesting that Sega are sort of remaking some of their classics in VR, because this isn't the first one. Of course, Space Channel 5, I know that you're a fan of this one, Nathie.
Yes.
It is also coming, to VR, which is unusual. And I wonder kind of what's next. Could they make Dirt Rally maybe, bring that back, or maybe Virtua Cop? House of the Dead 2, maybe. That would be awesome.
Yeah, no, I think that could work. If you look at Bandai Namco with their VR Zone arcades, they brought Godzilla to life, Gundam, Dragon Ball Z, of course Mario Kart. So you can see those companies definitely do something in the VR scene. Yeah. I'm still just waiting for Nintendo to make the big step and go into VR, because Sega, Nintendo, and some others have so many good IPs. They can really make it happen. But they're just I think they're just waiting. As you said, VR is not mainstream yet. They're just kind of waiting it out, just see how things go. So I still think, looking at Xbox, looking at Nintendo, looking that they're waiting it doesn't really seem to hurt them that much. Although, of course, Xbox is a different story. But still, you know what I mean? Where you can still kind of just sit back and see what the rest is doing. But the time will come soon.
Yeah, of course it will. And I think, in terms of arcade experiences, the Mario Kart Arcade GP, is the best VR experience I've ever tried.
Oh, wait, my friend, until the end of this show.
Okay, yeah.
okay.
80s version of this. The iIllusions version of this.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is all the news this week. Now let's hand it over to Rowdy for the latest releases to look forward to, or maybe not so much.
Are you definitely going to look forward to this one?
Here we go.
I mean, you guys made a big mistake with giving me the reins on this one, because this wouldn't be the same section if I wouldn't do the first game. Dinosaurs, goddamn dinosaurs. This one is called, the first game I'm going to talk about is the Pteranodon's Flight, the flying dinosaur game.
Dinosaur game.
What do you think this is about?
Well, this basically looks like Panzer Dragoon.
Exactly.
And it looks like Eagle Flight, but way more awesome.
Yeah, okay, so let me explain it. So it's releasing for the Valve Index, HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, and Windows Mixed Reality. There is not a price that I found yet as of now, and it's made by Victory XR, and it will be releasing on the 16th of March 2020, so that's next week. Interestingly, it's listed under the education genre. Now, after seeing this trailer, I was like, there's not really a lot of education. But then I read the description and they say, so welcome to Pteranodon's Flight, the high-speed action game.
Yeah, go on.
High-speed action game allows you to take control of one of history's greatest flying reptiles. Dip, dive, swoop, and soar as you hunt for prey. Weave through jagged rocks and brave an erupting volcano. So I was still like, where's the education in this part? But then along comes Wendy.
Wendy?
I don't know
Wendy
who
who?
Wendy is, but before you dive in, join Wendy Martin as you take a close look at lifelike scale models of these ancient creatures. Be careful though, you might actually learn something.
Whoa. I do like that part.
I mean, I guess that's the educational part of it.
That sounds like you make first, you're like, oh, let's make a game. Awesome. Oh, wait, maybe we should make something education as well. And then they just add like something. Oh, yeah, now it's also education. There you go.
But I have to say, visually, it looks quite appealing.
It does.
And I, for one, would love to ride on a flying dinosaur's back for a change.
It's so funny that this is so coincidental that it looks exactly like Panzer Dragoon.
But this is not pre-arranged before.
No, it's not. We don't prep or have any planning involved. But we've got some really funny comments from the chat. So Dave the Psycho, he says, this is just asking for Puke City, which I think is totally right because it looks pretty intense. And D1360 VR says, Jurassic Parkour.
That's a good one. That would have been a way better name than Pteranodon's Flight, the flying dinosaur game.
I totally agree.
I
totally agree.
It's like you can just see what went on in their minds. It's like, oh, so we have the name of this dinosaur, we have the game now. Oh wait, so no one will know what that means. So let's just add the flying dinosaur game as an extra, just in case.
Yeah, like in the chat they said it as well. It kind of sounds like they need the educational spin for funding. It could be. You know, they just wanted to make a fun game, but if they put some educational aspects, they might actually get funding from a government institution.
But jokes aside, first of all, we can do like make funny jokes about this, but it has index support. So that means you can use your little piranha whatever pinkies and just move those with your fingers. And then next to that,
wait,
this
Nate,
is also
wait, Nate, you try to pronounce the correct name.
Okay,
again.
so
go for it.
But wait, here we go. Pteranodon's Flight. Dude, I'm not into dinosaur names, but that's like if you watch me play Robinson the Journey, like when I do the journal stuff, I'm not reading the names, just watch it and laugh. But no, but seriously though, this could also be a game that has potential to use that pedal support from Nintendo Labo.
You keep talking about Nintendo.
No, it's education and dinosaurs. I do think it's a cool, combination. I think it
definitely
could work. I don't know if this is gonna be.
Every kid goes through a dinosaur phase, right? Yeah. Like every kid kind of does.
And I do want to clear up Browdy saying like, yeah, but it looks good. That's the problem right now in this era is that every game looks good. Because that's not the main problem anymore, but the mechanics. Well, that's going real deep. That's going real deep. Yeah, this looks nice. And the title. Oh, the title. That's definitely one thing. Yeah.
Anyway, next game that I got online for you is called Loco Parentis, and it sounds like a Mexican party game, but it's not. It's a horror game that is releasing for the Valve Index, HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, and Windows Mixed Reality, and it is currently already available since the 13th of March, made by Fair Game Studios, and it is currently also 10% off from the original price, which is 20.99 euros. So convert that yourself. I don't know how that works. Description: it's a co-op horror game. We haven't heard that before. We have, but not in this particular setting, where you have to help a little girl find her mother and figure out what is really happening in your house and who your neighbors really are. And it is, if you look at the trailer, it looks proper spooky.
Yeah.
So I'll read a little bit more from the description so you guys know what is going on. So it's just a usual day. You're heading out for a walk just like you do it every day. You're stepping out of your apartment when all of a sudden you see a little girl who looks frightened. You ask to help her find her mother. From now on, everything goes beyond normal. You are trapped in a nightmare that is taking place in this dwelling. But don't even try to escape. You have to help this girl. What do you think of this?
I think you should be hired as a voice actor. That's what I think.
Well, sometimes I do wonder what my neighbors are doing. So maybe I should play this and learn from it.
Yeah. It's kind of like a horror escape room puzzle game in virtual reality. They actually say that it has hardcore gameplay, challenging puzzles, an ominous atmosphere, and a constant sense of foreboding are waiting for you.
It looks terrifying.
All of them. It's just, especially the part there's like at the ending, I think somewhere where like you're walking through a hallway and all of a sudden you see those like two like claws come up into the screen and like grab you from behind. That must be like the worst kind of thing that could happen. Like,
yeah, I do like the fact that it's co-op though. That sounds like a really interesting.
Yeah, we haven't seen it that much.
No,
I also don't know how like the co-op actually works. If that's like two VR players or one player on.
I'd like to play this one with Nathy because I know that he's terrified of horror games.
Yeah, you do so well, right?
Yeah, that's true. No, I do.
I play with Zim. Zim loves that stuff, and he has a funny like feminine screen when he goes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. All right. Next game was made available on the 12th of March. It's made by Mindglow, and it's as far as I saw only available for the Oculus Rift, but I might be wrong on that one. It's called Empower. So it's like a little bit of a funny way of saying empower, but then with the last three letters HER. It's available for €11.99, and this is a self-defense training game which teaches you the basics of empowering self-defense. So through this movement and voice-based games, you will learn about personal boundaries, situational awareness, verbal self-defense. Find that, so you need to scream in your microphone, and physical self-defense. Get ready to use the tools you already have and be empowered in your daily life. I didn't find a proper video of showing this off. I only found some screenshots, and I don't think that the screenshots are that appealing to the game at all. But I do find it an interesting concept to be learning something about self-defense in a virtual reality scene. I don't think we've really seen VR being used for this specific purpose in a commercial setting. I know that the military experiences with these kind of things, but Mike, in a former life you were a police officer, so I remember you highlighting a while ago like it was a VR application for police training. Do you see these kind of training concepts as a valuable way to train in like a safe environment, or is it rather a bit gimmicky?
So this looks like it's like because of the name Empower Her, it looks like it's aimed at women, right? To empower them about correct. Like, predatory men, which is fine. But I think an application on this veil for kids, teaching them social boundaries would probably be more beneficial. Like, I can't see a grown woman putting taking this seriously. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I think they're smart enough to understand. You know,
there weren't that many reviews on it,
Yeah.
but the reviews that were there were rather positive about saying like, oh, you know, like I was really surprised with the verbal aspect in particular, where I had to like shout at like the people then coming towards me or whatever.
Yeah. But I think, you know, like I said,
interesting.
like for kids, you know, and getting them to say these things, you know, and reinforcing that kind of good.
Fuck off! Like,
yeah, absolutely. But like, so they understand social boundaries, I think would be more beneficial, because I think, you know, mature women will already be able to handle themselves, I think, you know, and tell a stranger to get lost. But I do think, like you said, it's an interesting concept. So yeah, I'd like to know what people think about it for sure.
All right. I saved the last two, the best for the last.
Oh, it gets better? Oh, wow.
It gets way better still.
Wow.
The next one is called, again, a brilliant title. I really would like to meet the person who made this one. It's called VE G-Sim Tower Crane Simulator.
Wow. We're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here, guys.
It's made available on the 17th of March, so also next week, for the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift, and it's made by Visual Engineering. You know, since we're talking about simulators now, let's really go in there. So this is a virtual reality tower crane simulator where you can experience the view and the height from the top of a tower crane inside of the operator's cabin. Gets better. You have the option to pick up one concrete element from the construction site and lift it with the tower crane. And that's all of the information that is available on the entire website. So you can pick up one concrete element.
And then what do you...
Not two?
No, okay.
One.
As weird as this sounds, this actually looks really fun.
It does.
Because like you're up high, which is going to be pretty scary. And who hasn't ever wanted to control a crane before?
It looks
And drop it, right? Like drop the concrete block on like on. They should have added cars in there, so you could at least drop the thing on the cars.
You can
so
smash
developers, if you're listening, add cars and add peoples.
Yeah.
Because we're horrible human beings.
I do have to say the physics look very satisfying. They look very high end.
I think that is their strong point.
Well, maybe you could combine this with the Jurassic parkour and then like have a dinosaur like running across the top of the crane.
Yeah.
We should make a game, guys.
Yeah.
But so you're saying there's no news on DLC here? Is there like progression system in any way, or
Like,
can you
I
customize your
have
crane in a way where you know if you do?
I've heard through the grapevine that they are thinking about adding one more concrete block that you might be able to pick up in the future as well.
But no customization of your crane or.
I've just read the entire, and I haven't bothered. Oh no, it's not available yet. I wouldn't say I haven't bothered with trying it, but that's the description. So I have no idea.
Well, this sounds
best
like
one.
Yeah, best. Oh, you have another one.
Oh, I have one more.
Oh wow, okay.
This one is called.
I don't know if I can take any more. Go on.
Hey, I told you guys I shouldn't be the one doing this.
We should never have asked for this.
Well, I thought this game was like the comeback of the Oculus and Steam store,
No.
we're getting
the next one, and there is a video of this one.
Oh, okay.
It's called Shark Wizard.
Shark Wizard. Shark Wizard.
It's from Bent Light Studios, made available on the 12th of March, so like last week for the Oculus Rift, and it is completely free.
Free, wow.
It is a free game, and it is made on a game jam. So, of course, we need to give it a little bit of credit. That being said, the description goes as follows. After your magic spell goes horribly wrong, you somehow manage to turn an entire village into humanoid sharks. And now they want revenge. Use your magic banana gun and rubber duck on a stick to defend your tower. Originally created for Global Game Jam 2020, this tower defense is unlike any other and makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
It looks plain horrible. I mean, if they say humanoid shark, the last thing that I imagined were net stockings and red high heels. So I don't know, maybe it's the strippers that got turned into sharks.
So is this...
At least it's free.
Is this the pre-sequel to that Sharknado game?
I believe so.
Oh yeah.
I believe so.
Okay. No,
Wow.
this like Mike likes the crane one, but this to get ready
This
for.
is more your kind of thing.
Yeah, like
You're feeling it.
before getting ready for Half-Life Alex, I think this, like, instead of Black Mesa, I should play this.
Shark Wizard
Yeah.
for the win. Yeah.
Shark Wizard.
It feels weird. Like I can't remember a dark period like this before.
No?
We've had
I
weeks and
looked
weeks
I
of
looked
these
for
games
games, Mike. You can't imagine. Like I really looked for
I,
better
uh,
games. I tried to do better, but
now. We're gonna have to rename the podcast.
Well, Mike,
Our game show.
Like, I don't think you realize that this podcast has been in the air for almost 2 years. We're getting, first of all, old, and then second of all, first we were trying to make the VR industry look good, but now we're at the point where
We just show how
we
it
don't
is.
we just
Yeah.
can't do it anymore.
So this is a better time than ever to just say, like, Mike Verder, you need to make sure you bring your A game
Bring
next
it
week,
out.
because seriously, I don't know how many more weeks of this I could take.
It's almost you say it in a way where Mike is trying to make us go completely insane, and he's like, okay, what can we come up next week? We have a duck on a stick, we have a banana shooter, so next week we're gonna do the crane 2.0.
yeah, you can turn the trailer off, Nate, because
You
I
sure?
think that people have been tortured enough.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. Sorry
That
about
was
that.
torture. Releases was torture this
Beautiful.
week. Thank you, Rowdy.
No, I thought it was
Thank you.
beautiful, actually. Sorry.
Yeah. Wow. There we go. That is well, I don't even know
What is
to say
your
about
Mike?
that.
So Mike, what is your favorite one of all the ones he? You gotta choose one. You gotta choose
Well,
one.
I mean,
Like,
I
I'd
think
go
it's
for the
easy.
crane.
really?
Yeah.
No, I think the horror game looked the most interesting. No.
I'm only going to play the horror game if I can play it with Nathy, because I just want to hear his screams.
it looks so bad, but sure,
Yeah.
I'm down.
Because I'm sure that he screams like his brother screams, and I've heard his brother scream because we've tried a VR horror experience together.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So that is wow. That is releases. Wow.
Wow.
That's all I can say, really.
welcome.
So
Wow.
let's get into the main topic this week. Because last week on the show we had Chris Hanney from iIllusions as our special guest. He talked about Space Pirate Arena,
Yeah.
their upcoming local multiplayer game for Oculus Quest. Really, really cool show. Really interesting discussion as well. So if you
Yeah.
missed it, go and check that out. That is a legit awesome game that you should be looking forward to playing. But Nathan actually had the opportunity to go visit them at their office. They've got this amazing space in Belgium where you got to try Space Pirate Trainer yourself, and also something
Arena.
else.
You mean? Yeah.
Space Pirate Arena, sorry.
Yeah.
And this other project that they've been cooking up in the background as kind of a little fun experiment. So maybe you can just tell us more about what this is,
Yeah.
Nathan.
What is this? What is this trying to be? You mean?
What is it, and
What is it?
what
It's
is
hard-
it
it's
like, and what do you think it will be in the future?
It's hard to describe though, because this is
Sure.
very experimental.
Yeah.
iIllusions is a development studio who is experimenting with all kinds of stuff. It's not just this; they also did things with skateboards, and I'm not gonna believe what else they're gonna do soon. But yeah, so what they were trying in their warehouse is pretty much see what room skill has to offer, or as we call it, like warehouse skill. Dirk came up with the idea to buy a go-kart, and he told Chris, like, what we're gonna do today, and Chris was like, okay, so well, let's do this. So yeah, he decided to build a track in VR, and then you put on your Oculus Quest, you step into the go-kart, and then you just drive that track.
And this is a real life go-kart.
It's a real life go-kart, yeah. That was kind of like just to experiment to see what it does. And what came out of that is that actually when you drive a physical, go-kart, you get less motion sick.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, let's say you tried the Mario Kart GP one, and you also maybe tried, simulators at home. Some people do get motion sick of, driving but not feeling anything. Or if they even do have haptics, they still get sick. But this is, you actually drive it. And that was kind of like the first thing that came out of this experiment, that, motion sickness gets reduced.
Yeah, because you're feeling the actual G-force and physical effects of driving at that speed.
Yes.
As opposed to it being, simulated and then you don't feel it, which causes a disconnect and then
Correct.
makes you feel a bit motion sick.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So and the what you do in VR is pretty much you follow this line and you have to just do this time trail and that's it. So when you finish the time, you can compete with someone else and they can try. So that's all it pretty much is. But the fact that this shows that you can solve let's say a loco way of moving by doing this is very interesting.
Yeah. And who was faster, you or David?
I don't know. Like he tried it first. I don't know if he was faster. I do know that Dirk had like the high score. But
yeah, because we didn't try it, Mike.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm sure you guys could have beaten. But I can tell you that driving through Oculus Home. Because the thing is, like first you start in Oculus Home and then they boot up the game for you because they had a phone and they could control it via that as well.
Nice.
But you start in Oculus Home. So imagine that dome you have, the classic environment, an Oculus Quest. And then you just you just drift through your own house, through your own living room. And then if you want to, you can even go beyond that and just go through the dome. And even if that's the craziest part, driving within VR, but then if you make a mistake and you kind of drift too much, you get out of those boundaries and then suddenly you see the see-through. It's like crazy. It's like you drive, well, because a wall in VR feels like a wall.
Yeah.
So when you then do it in VR, but there is, on the other side, there is no wall in real life, that's like a weird disconnection of like danger that isn't there.
I do have to say those like VR controllers are getting a little bit out of hand. Like what you're basically saying is that I now also need to buy a go-kart in order to like get the full experience.
Well, yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah. But I think that's the cool thing. Like you said, driving around the home environment and then just gunning it straight towards the dome wall and then just going past that, but still being obviously grounded.
Like Harry Potter.
And
go-kart sounds like a lot of fun.
And the way this works is that Dirk taped a Oculus Quest controller on the steering wheel to so it knows if you go left or right. A very easy way to do that. And then I can tell you like because the hype around this has been so big that people expect next level footage like the dinosaur flying game. Well, I can tell you the dinosaur flying game, spoiler alert, looks better. And also the duck on a duck on a stick one also looks better. But as you said, it's experimental. Like when I was in VR, I couldn't even see a go-kart. It was just this round like steering wheel, just like the one I had in real life, and that was it. But even that was enough to be so immersed into this that you were like just competing for that fastest time. So that just shows from the core. This is a good idea. Sometimes the concept needs to be enough to get people into VR. Same with Space Pirate Arena. It's not specifically Space Pirate Arena that builds the hype. It's just, hey, I can play with a friend in a large scale and play laser tag. That's what it is. And it's the same with this. I can, maybe in the future go to a go-kart center and drive against my friends in VR and have things there that you couldn't do in real life.
Yeah, and I think that concept sounds really, really fun. So what did the environments look like in this experience that you tried, this like very early concept?
You could like, it gets close to, let's say, the sandbox mode of Boneworks. It's just this like warehouse that is just completely gray, nothing going on in the background, nothing, let's say, visually interesting. It was just this like little room that you were in, because the weird part is if you drive in a go-kart, your room scale area becomes smaller because the turns are so big that it feels like it could be it could be way bigger. So what it sounds like it sounds like it was just grey boxed. Grey boxed.
Like a development term. So if you're not familiar with grey boxing, it's basically like in early concept games, developer will just grey box an environment. So they've got rough shapes, but the boxes and nothing has any texture to it. Basically, no textures.
No.
It's just basically grey.
It had so what it had was like a point where you had to spin around one pillar twice to kind of finish the track. So it showed like this
nice.
drifting part, like a roundabout in a way. There was a tunnel that you had to drive through. All the walls were, of course, let's say you could drive through them anyways, because it would be weird to get stuck behind a wall in VR, but then in real...
Still going. Yeah.
Exactly. That's like dangerous, because then you don't see where you're going anymore. So there were just a few walls to kind of show that off, and you had this straight, like kind of like GPS line that you were following, and that was it. But again, like concept shows once again that this has so much potential.
Yeah, and I remember David posting about it, saying it was one of the best VR experiences he ever tried.
Enough said. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, when you sort of think about it outside the box and think about, like, you know, like you said, a go-kart place, you know, having traditional go-karts, still using them, but adding VR into the mix, and then you could be driving against your friends through a dinosaur world or something like that, or recreating that sort of Mario Kart thing where you're picking up shells and bananas and throwing them at each other.
You can like let people drive like you do in Mario Kart GP, drive through a teleporter almost, and then you end up in the next world. So you can also switch around, and you can change the go-kart into anything you want. You could be driving
like a pteranodon.
Oh, yeah. Or, you know, a magic carpet, or everything is possible. And if you look at that, then as a go-kart center, you could advertise with that and change up this whole scene every 6 months and advertise with that. Because you know, buying actual props is expensive, and I think most go-kart centers you guys have been to are just, you know, just general ones, not with a theme around it.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So this could be like, you know, you could drive in Rainbow Road, or
yeah, that's a crazy thing.
So this is an opportunity for like some VR arcades to do something really special here. But it's funny because when you mentioned like you had to do a loop around a roundabout or something, kind of reminded me of that. Did you guys ever play Driver? We have to
Driver, yes.
At the beginning, you have to drive around the multi-story car park. It was really hard as well.
Oh yeah.
It sounds like a test at the beginning of Driver where you've got to do these special like movements, like J turns and like 360s.
Yeah.
But I saw a little clip of you in this go-kart, and you were just spinning around like a madman.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Yeah. So that felt. So first of all, I tried it before, but not in VR, and I thought it was super fun. Although I didn't spin that, you know, crazy. I just did 2 spins and then I stopped. But of course, you know, we were, you know, shooting this video. I was like, you know, for the sake of science, let's just see what happens. So I just you know, went for the most extreme spin I could go for, I don't know, I was like spinning for 6, 7, or 8 times, I don't know. And I was just laughing my ass off. And then I stopped, and I just couldn't see straight anymore. It's like extremely dizzy, a little sick too. It lasted until the evening, actually.
Yeah, of course.
It just didn't stop and even when I went to bed, I still felt like I was driving this go-kart around. Super trippy experience. And this is like this is gonna blow people's minds the most when they see this, you know, happening, is that the Oculus Quest was tracking everything. Of course, you do feel like there is a little bit of a, you know, delay between, because it goes so fast, but it did track everything.
Yeah, and that's pretty impressive.
That is
you're
very
pushing
impressive,
it to its very limits here.
And that shows that the software is way, like, it's accurate beyond something that anyone is going to do until someone drove with a go-kart. But
Because how fast do you reckon these go-karts go? Like, do you know roughly speed-wise? Because I know you said that it felt faster in VR, whereas in real life, when you looked at the footage back, it looked a lot slower.
Yeah, it looks... But in general, if you watch someone play Project Cars or anything that goes fast... it looks slow anyways. So it's something you like. Some things in VR cannot be sold that well on video, you know, and it's the same with this. Even that, of course, the go-kart part makes it super funny, But I can tell you, the first time I saw David driving around in that, I just couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah,
It's like so surreal. I'm like, in what the heck for world have I arrived in, where developers are just driving around in go-karts and just see what's possible. It's so strange. It's so strange. But the experience itself is super fun. It's just that, once again, it's the same with Space Pirate Arena. Let's say if you would sell that to arcades, and let's say you would sell that to kart centers, how are you going to keep people safe? How are you going to make sure that those go-karts...
Yeah, because in the chat, David is joined as well, and he said actually that they drive up to 35 kilometers an hour, and that's quite fast. That's faster than electric bikes are allowed to go in Belgium. So quite a bit, like 10 kilometers faster.
So what I think would be amazing is kind of what Tesla is doing, where you have these go-karts that can stop automatically and can also be set on a certain speed, so you can kind of control it. So it's almost like it does feel like you're driving yourself. It's like Mario Kart with the little help system,
Assists on. Yeah,
exactly, and then
wheels.
and then kind of keep people safe, so they can't bump into each other anymore.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, like I was asking Dirk, I said like, can we try multiplayer? He's like, not right now, but they have been kind of looking into that for sure.
Yeah.
So imagine you seeing someone else also driving around. It's amazing.
So all we need is Elon Musk. I know he's a big fan of the show. To make us a special design go-kart for us to use in virtual reality that can detect the go-kart.
It needs to be a customized one, though. We each need to have a personalized one. Otherwise, no.
Yeah. Sort it out, Elon.
Yeah.
Get it done. We've got some interesting comments in the chat. One from Alex VR, who says, the wind, actually, the sensation of feeling the wind when you accelerate and stuff like that must help alleviate motion sickness as well, which is a really good point.
Yeah.
When you can feel that. And so 86, the Mad Hatter says, now we can play VR golf in a warehouse and drive our golf cart to the next hole.
Yeah, well, you never know.
That alone is already a good reason to get one.
Yeah, true.
Absolutely. But it sounds like a really interesting concept, and I love the fact that when we had Chris on the show, that his main motto, and Dirk's too, their main motto was, we just want to build stuff because we want to have fun and we want to enjoy it ourselves. Like, they built it for themselves, basically, to have a laugh.
Yeah, and because of that, you get like amazing ideas that other development studios wouldn't be able to get to, because as I said, they have like the space to kind of do this stuff. Not every developer can drive around in go-karts all day and test that stuff out, but they can. And
it's cool to see actually that iLlusions, Dirk and Chris have been and all the rest of the team have been like pushing the boundary already for so long. They started out with Space Pirate Trainer, being one of the first virtual reality games to do it right. I played that game a ton. And then now again with like Space Pirate Arena and with this go-karting, they're again like pushing a boundary that they kind of like set themselves already. So
absolutely. Yeah.
It's kind of neat to see that.
In terms of gameplay, are we going to see a video from you, Nathie, of the gameplay of this? Oh,
yes.
Cool.
So I am planning to release something on Monday.
Okay, cool.
The reason why I haven't been showing gameplay here is because I think that it will give the wrong expectations. I think it needs to be, it's the same with Space Pirate Arena, it needs to all be edited together. Then you start to understand what it looks like. If you heard Dirk talking about this, what they want to do, with this whole experimental thing, then you get more of an idea of, because it looks all very funny, but there's also a serious side of things where you're really looking into, okay, what could this be used for? And again, how to keep people safe, because the whole warehouse scale thing, and now this too, it's ambitious in a way. It's pushing, as you said, the boundaries of VR, and that's why you haven't really seen any, for example, arena scaled VR titles on Oculus, or because it's a realm that hasn't been really explored that much yet. But
all the good stuff comes out of Belgium.
Yeah, and oh, totally. Yeah, and I think with iLlusions, showing this up, they also finally revealed to the public that they are just more than some guys who made like Space Pirate Trainer. That they really want VR to succeed and VR become more interesting to many more branches out there. And after our show from last week with Chris, I've seen like a lot of more interest for the stuff they're doing. So that's good news.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
sure.
and I think the video that you did covering Space Pirate Trainer was really great, by the way. So I really look forward to this one. So that'll be on your channel hopefully early next week.
Hopefully on Monday, just before Half-Life comes out, because then Nate is gonna be, completely off the records.
In headcrab mode.
Headcrab mode, yes, exactly. Headcrab mode.
Okay, cool. Well, let's sort of round up the show. Maybe we can take a few questions from the chat. So if you've got a question you want to ask Nathy about this experience that you tried, or just any general VR question you have for any of us, then chuck them in the comments now while I sort of recap the show times. So just a reminder, this is a weekly VR, AR, and MR talk show, live streamed every Saturday on YouTube and on Twitch. Don't forget, you can also catch the show in VR using big screen TV. You can meet up with loads of people in a virtual room, watch this on a virtual screen, and chat with other sort of people in a room and discuss the sort of topics of the show that we've been talking about as well, which is a really unique and interesting way to experience the show. The show goes live at 7 p.m. in Europe, 6 p.m. in the UK, and 12 midday in central US. Although that is likely going to change, that is changing because of the daylight saving times in the US at the moment. So apologies if we haven't got that exactly right with the US times. It's always super confusing to keep track of it all. If you do miss the show live, you can check out the audio version, which is available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and on Spotify. Rowdy does a cracking job to make sure that sounds beautiful for your ears on your commute, or whether you're out and about and you want to catch up on the latest VR news. So definitely give us some feedback on the iTunes store if you check it out.
Also give a like.
Leave a like on this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for all our future shows. And let's take a few questions from people in the chat.
So Watto UK says... only 1 hour and 40 minutes? Lightweights?
Yeah, sorry, Watto. I think this week's just been one of those unusual weeks where there's not been a lot of stuff going on. And with Zim being out of action as well, we thought we'd sort of just wrap it up sort of 20 minutes earlier than usual. But to be honest, this is I think this is our normal show time, an hour and 40 minutes.
It's 10 minutes longer than our normal show time.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, apparently a pandemic had to happen for us to kind of get back to this.
Exactly, yeah. The 2-hour shows are became the standard, but they shouldn't be really, to be honest, because we've also got lives and partners and wives to spend some time with as well. As much as we love you all, of course. Yeah. Johnny Wells asks, "Where's the pooch, Mike?" Well, I would bring her on the show, but she is an absolute whirlwind menace right now. So she chews everything in sight, licks everything in sight.
Yeah, but when are we gonna? You can also show a video, maybe.
You know what? I'll share something funny with you. She's actually got her own Instagram account.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so let's look at that then.
Yeah. Okay. So the Instagram account is Ruby Roo, the cockapoo.
Ruby Roo. Oh wow.
Let me send it to you via Twitter,
Sure.
and then you can look it up.
Sure.
Because obviously she's a cockapoo, so that's why.
Mike becoming a dog influencer.
Yeah, exactly. So I've sent it.
We had another question about the go-karts from Veldark. It's the go-kart thing should work for anything with a cockpit, right?
Yeah, I think so. yeah, I think so. Are you
sure of that? Because I think the game needs to be implemented for that to specifically get the input from the go-kart rather than from
the input from the controller on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Are they talking about further concepts? They want to see this on a ride-on lawnmower, micro.
Yeah. Okay, so let's
cars,
hang glider,
project cars.
Okay, nice.
So here are some pictures from.
There you go.
So Rowdy, for the audio listeners, can you describe what this dog looks like?
It looks like a chicken nugget.
It's the same color as a chicken nugget. You're right.
if you look at it from a distance, then you think, oh, it's an Instagram about chicken nuggets.
Yeah, and she's ginger like I am, so we're made for each other. But yeah, she does look like a chicken nugget. That's gonna be my new nickname for her, I think. But yeah, she's super, super cute, and she's going to be she's going to blow up on the dogfluencer scene on Instagram.
Wow.
So,
So something that I do wonder for, when Half-Life comes out is that since this game has a lot of hype around it, there is no way you can say guys, just stay calm. It's another VR game. Okay, It's called Half-Life, but, let's just keep it calm. It's hard, I know, it's not possible with Half-Life and all these gamers around, but isn't anyone afraid that after Half-Life it's gonna feel or sound very silent within the whole VR scene? Because I don't think after Half-Life comes out we are instantly going to see the whole industry change. It's gonna, of course, slowly grow towards something new, and it will definitely help. But what's life after Half-Life? That's kind of like my question.
Listen, this should be a topic, like a title for a video: the life after Half-Life.
Yeah,
because you're right. Because the VR industry needs to keep the momentum going. Of course, this is a big, important game for us and the industry. But the momentum needs to continue. So you're right. We need to be looking at what's next. Medal of Honor, and hopefully next week from Oculus we'll get some new games announced that are distant in the future that we can also say we're looking forward to these coming as well. But yeah, it's weird because as much as I'm excited, and I know you feel the same way about it, Nathie, is I'm so excited about the game, but I'm also very aware of like the pressure and how this game is really being focused on by the whole gaming industry as a whole, because it's got a lot riding on its shoulders for sure.
Because in people's minds they are expecting to play a game with maybe 40 hours of gameplay. Well, it could just be a short one of 10 or 15 hours, who knows, and then it's over, and then they announce their next project. I feel like this game is gonna be very polished, but short and sweet in a good way. That's how I think about it. Because we spoke about Asgard's Wrath. If they kind of packed it together more, it would have been a more smooth experience. And I think that's what, if we look at the trailers and the gameplay, it's all so good that I almost think that this is gonna be well packed together, nice game, and then it's like, listen guys, there's more Half-Life coming. Get excited. I think that's kind of like
how cool would it be if it had? Well, I mean, how cool? I mean, it's not like Valve has that great reputation about that. If it has an open ending, would you be happy or would you be angry?
It's so obvious. It's so obvious that it's gonna be the thing, because they want the Half-Life genre, the whole franchise to continue, and that gives them.
You have like an open ending and you have an open ending. For example, like Halo, the first Halo also kind of had an open ending, but it was still like an ending where you could be like satisfied with what happened. With Halo 2, that was the opposite. It had an open ending. It was kind of like a prelude the entire game to like the third one. Yeah, but I'm wondering what this is going to be. Is it going to be the kind of open ending that you go like, okay, this was a good game, I want to play more of it. Lone Echo had that too. The open ending. They had an open ending. Lone Echo had that too. Open ending. They're gonna make Lone Echo 2, but still the entire ending felt satisfying enough in order for the game to be called done. You know what I mean?
It's pretty obvious what's gonna happen, because if you look at the original Half-Life games, they decide to also switch over to different characters to play with. I don't think Alex is the only character that they want you to play with. I think this is just kind of the start of something new, and from there. But I just don't hope that those 3 games are only going to be Half-Life. Although I like Half-Life, but I also want them to, because that would mean for us 3 games sound like massive games. In the VR scene, 3 games sounds like a full like Left 4 Dead single player and a Portal game. But what if it's just a short and sweet game, and then you have the next one coming out, and could be. It's just a prediction.
It's going to be about 15 hours, though. I think that's pretty much confirmed that it's going to be like a 15, 16-hour game. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see
what are we going to do after Half-Life, guys? Seriously, if that game is as good as everyone says it is, what else do we still want to play? Because then the Crane one that you're now joking about, you don't want to play it anymore, Mike. So what's going to happen?
I don't know.
What's going to happen?
You think it might ruin VR for us forever?
And well, kind of.
It might set the bar higher.
For me, that already happened with Vertigo and happened with Boneworks, where you're like, well, why is this cup stuck on the table? Why are environments so static? Even Mike and I, when we jumped into the Half-Life environment in Steam VR, like I was blown away by just a plant on the freaking ground that was moving. But that's the state of VR right now, where I'm like, wow, the leaves. Wow.
It's not only those games. I mean, we've been seeing that progress happening throughout the years that we've been playing virtual reality.
Yeah.
Like we had it as well with Asgard's Wrath. That was a mind-blowing game to have that kind of experience actually that early on into the virtual reality scene.
True, but it's like but in terms of like
Vertigo.
Expectations are getting put higher right now, where I think some games are just too simple in terms of mechanics and stuff. So I think this will.
That's what I said. Like I don't think a good game is only a game that looks visually very great or is a very great story. I think there's multiple examples in the PC gaming market of very simple games that can just be extremely fun.
And I think
cool
it's a
game
good thing.
mechanics.
I think it's a good thing that the bar is continually being raised. I think it's great.
Of course.
But I think you're right. It's difficult for people then to catch up with that bar.
It's hard to catch up with that budget. You mean because most developers are just not able to push it that far.
Well, I don't know. I mean, in the beginning of virtual reality, I do think that we had a couple of games that were pushing that boundary as well, like Space Pirate Trainer. We had Job Simulator. They were doing back then things that nobody had done before, and I think that is pretty neat.
So we've got a prediction from Victor Riddell, the founder of VR Dizzy.
Oh, VR Dizzy. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
He says the end of Half-Life Alyx will be a slow fade from black, revealing Gordon's beard and a big 3 hitting the screen.
Wait,
I like that one.
Yeah, I like that as well.
Whoa, that sounds crazy.
So, let's wrap up the show then this week. We've sort of stretched it on another 10 minutes for you, Watto, so you're welcome. We'll be back on the show next week with Zim, of course, and, next week, hopefully we'll be talking more about Half-Life Alyx if we get any more information, because it will just be the week after that, then the game releases, so time is running out. We hope you have a great week in VR. Make sure you stay safe as well with all the things that are going on in the world right now.
Wash your hands in Job Simulator with the soap they have.
Yep. And so take care.
Or in Prison Boss.
Prison Boss too. And Super Hot.
Oh, God. Right, I'm just going to cut it there. Bye-bye for now. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
See you, bye.